Okay. As Hashem, it's easier daf today. Anyway, all things considered, today's daf is Masechta Bava Metzia, daf Samach Zayin, and we will begin on about 7, 8, 10 lines from the top. Okay, we'll start from there. The Gemara says over here, Hahi Itisa. There was this woman. There was this woman, the Amr Leilahu Gavra, that said to this person, Zil Zavan Li Ara Mikrivayu. I want you to purchase a piece of land from my relative. Okay? So a woman, imagine a rich lady, she's married, let's say, and she has money, and she says she wants to purchase a piece of real estate from a relative of hers. Let's say her relative was selling a field, and she wants to purchase the field. Also, but she didn't do it herself. She's a modest woman. She sent a shliach to do it. A broker to do it. Also, the shliach went Zavan La and bought the field on her behalf. Amalei, but the seller said he has a condition on the sale. Very interesting condition. He said, "I havi li zuze mahadart la nihilai." If I ever come up with the money, the condition is that I have a right, an option to purchase it back. That is the only condition of the sale. So the shliach knew nothing about this. So he said, Amalei, he said, At v'navalt achai. You and Navla was the lady's name, you are relatives. And therefore, when the time comes, you'll work it out. Now, what are you mixing me in? I'm just doing my job of buying the property. Now, now the question is, does that condition stay valid when the time comes? So, the shliach didn't say it's okay, and the person didn't say the sale is null and void if you don't honor this condition. So that's what the Gemara is discussing. Amar Rabba bar Afuna, Rabba bar Hussein said, "Kol at v'navle ache." Amar, he said, "Sam chadaita v'loy gomra umakne." That means that all this, you and Navla are relatives. That's all he said. So therefore, he didn't, some chadaite, he relied that this condition should be valid. And he didn't completely sell the property. It's still attached to the seller. And should he come up with the money, then he could buy it back. Fine. Now, you can see what the problem over here is, by the way. What happens? Okay, so now the seller comes back to the lady and buys back the property. But all this time, the lady had the property and was eating the perus, the fruits of the property. Well, if he returns the purchase price, that means the lady got back her purchase price, plus she enjoyed the fruits of that property all this time. And that could be ribus. So if that's ribus, because basically we look at it as she loaned her relative the money, the relative now returned the money, but as interest, she was able to use the property and enjoy the payers. So is that really ribus? That means that she has to return it. Now, one thing we have to remember, if it's ribus da'oraisa, if it's minatora ribus, then dayanim force you to refund it. If it's ribis derabanan, there's no force of refund, only if you want to be a midas chasidis, you want to be a righteous person, you refund it anyway. So the Gemara's question is, peri mai, the fruits that the woman ate during this time while she had the field and now was forced to resell it back to the seller, what's the din? Is that ribis daraisa or ribis derabanan? So the answer is ribis kitzutzahi. The Gemara, that's the Gemara's question. Is it ribis da'iraisa? You remember, ribis da'iraisa is called ribis kitzutza because there's a set amount. Usually, if a ribis da'iraisa would be, you lend $100, but I'm guaranteeing you that you have to return to me $110. That's ribis da'iraisa. So is this ribis da'iraisa, the yotzim bedayanim, and therefore the lady would have to return it? The courts are going to force her to refund all the fruits that she ate during the time that the field was in her possession. Or do you say ki avak ribis hani? This is not like regular ribis. This is only ribis d'Rabbanan. Because think about it, it wasn't a direct type of loan transaction. It was like a sale, but it has the appearance of a loan because she's forced to get back the money. So it turns out that she loaned the seller the money. So if it's Drabanan, she doesn't have to return the peiros that she ate during this time. It's only ribis Drabanan. Amar Rabba Barav Huna said, Mistavra, I think, ki avak ribis habe. It's like ribis Drabanan. The ein yotzim bedayanin. And because of that, it's only ribis Drabanan. She doesn't have to return it. The courts can't force her to return the fruits. Once the seller comes up with the money, the lady doesn't have to return the fruits that she enjoyed all this time because it will only be considered a ribis d'Rabbanan. Rava said the same thing. Avak ribis have ein yotzim b'dayanim. It's like a avak ribis, and it does not. It cannot be forced. The courts cannot force her to pay it back. So now, so the Gemara asks the question like this. Now, why is it ribis d'Rabbanan? Because you can say it was considered to be, there was no set amount, and also it occurred in a transaction. It was like a sale, right? But Amalei Abaya l'Rabba mashkanta mai. What would be then by a mashkin? Let's give the case. Ruvain lent Shimon money, right? So Shimon put up his karka, his field, as collateral. Okay, during this time that the field is collateral, Ruvain is enjoying the fruits of the field. He's planting and having crop, and then comes time Shimon pays back the loan to Reuven. Now the question is, all this time that Reuven enjoyed the field, does he have to pay back? Is it ribis d'oraisa that he got his money back? He got his loan back. Doesn't he now have to pay back this interest, this fruits that he ate? Now here it started off as an actual loan. So therefore it could be even more so than the case of the lady with the sale. This is an actual loan. So Hassam time in my over there. What's the reason why we didn't consider ribis d'oraisa? It was ribis d'Rabbanan. By the case of the lady, mishum de kotzle, because there was no guaranteed amount. If you think about it, we didn't know when the seller is going to come back with the money for the lady. So the woman didn't have a set amount of interest. Whatever she grew on the field or whatever she used the field, she benefited from. But it was not like a set amount of money, like 10% interest, something like that. So therefore, that's why it's ribis d'Rabbanan. Hachinami. So the case over here is loy kotzloy. There's no set amount, and therefore there's no set amount of fruits that a person will eat while he's holding on to collateral of a field till the person that he loaned him, till Shimon returns the loan. That Reuven was just enjoying. He didn't know how much he's going to eat fruits of those fields, and that's why in the case of the loan, it would also be ribis d'Rabbanan. Dilma maybe hasam zvini hacha halva'a. Over there, it was an actual mekach hamemkar. It was a sale. It was an actual transaction, and therefore it's not ribis d'oraisa. But hach over here halva. This whole action is a loan. Reuven loaned Shimon money. Shimon put up his land as collateral. Shimon plans to return the entire loan to Reuven, but during this time, Reuven is enjoying the fruits of the field that Shimon put up as collateral. So now he's getting extra. So therefore, it could be ribis d'oraisa. So the Gemara said, Amalei, so Rabbah answered Abaya, Hossam time in my. The reason over there it's ribis d'Rabbanan, by the case of the lady, mishum de kotzle, because they didn't have a set amount. Hachanami over here also will only be ribis d'Rabbanan, loy kotzle. They didn't have a set amount, and therefore, loy kotzle, there was no set amount, and because of that, therefore, it's ribis d'Rabbanan, even in the case of the loan transaction of Reuven and Shimon. Amar Rapapi said, Rapapi disagrees with Rabba Barav Huna, and he holds no, it's ivid d'oraisa. Aved Ravina Uvayda. Ravina did such a transaction. In other words, Ravina loaned somebody money, and during this time, Ravina was eating the peiros. The choshev v'apik peri, and Rav Papi felt that. No, in other words, somebody in Ravina's time loaned somebody money, and during that time, that person that loaned the money was eating the peris, and when the loan was returned, Ravina made the lender pay back all the fruits that he enjoyed of the field. The choshev apek pere, and he forced the lender to pay back all the fruits that he enjoyed while the loan was outstanding. So we see that if the courts could enforce it, Ravina held that it's ribas d'oraisa, not ribas d'rabbanan, even though there's no set amount, but this is in a loan transaction, and this would be the loik Rabba bar Avuna, not like what Rabba bar Avuna said. Nu Gemara. Ama Mar bereid Rav Yosef mishmei Rava. Mar, the son of Rav Yosef, said in the name of Rava. Now, let's say there were two ways to view in the times of Chazal, when you borrowed money and you put up your land as collateral. There was two ways this happened. One way it happened was that when you come up with the borrower came back with the money, he could get his field back. He could pay the loan at any time and remove the lender at any time from his field. And another way this happened is that no, you have the lender will give you the money. The borrower put up a piece of land as collateral, but the borrower had no right to prepay. There's no prepay. There's a prepay penalty. There's no prepay unless after like 10 years. That's it. In other words, and during this time, in both scenarios, the lender was eating fruits from the field. So you can see the difference. When there's no prepay, you're not allowed to prepay. So when the lender is eating the fruits, it's almost viewed as a sale. He's selling he's giving money to the borrower. The borrower is selling him his field for like a 10-year term, during which the 10-year term, the lender can eat the fruits of the field. But the condition is that the lender will resell back the field at the end of 10 years back to the borrower for the same price that the borrower borrowed the money. So you can interpret that as a sale. But if the borrower is in a situation one where he can always remove the lender off his field when he comes up to money to pay back the loan, then it's clearly a loan, and the fruits that the lender is eating during that time that the loan is outstanding could be considered ribas. So let's see what this says. Amar Rabbi Rav Yosef mishmei Rava, Hai mashkanta and mashkin, a field that is a collateral. Ba'asra, in a city, the Masalki. There's no prepay penalty. There's no prepay. Penalty. In other words, the borrower can prepay the loan at any time. And when he prepays the loan, the Masalki, they remove the lender off the field. So achal shir zuze Masalkin lay. When the lender ate the loan amount, let's say the loan amount was $100,000. And during this time, when the loan was outstanding, the lender was eating fruits of the field versus the loan amount. So misalkinale, then you could remove him. And the borrower doesn't have to pay anything back. He borrowed $100,000, and the lender enjoyed his field worth $100,000. So therefore, the loan is considered canceled. Achal tvei, but let's say the lender ate $200,000 worth of food. He ate double. So loy mapkinim emei. We can't force the lender to pay back the overage. V'loy mechashvin alei mishtar l'shtara. And should the borrower have another loan outstanding, we wouldn't consider that we deduct the overage that the lender ate from another outstanding loan. And the reason for all this is because this is called avak ribis, and once avak ribis is spent, again, we learned this before, it's only ribis d'Rabbanan, and therefore you can't force the lender to pay it back. But the original loan gets canceled. But if you're dealing with your Simon's land, like orphans, achal shir zuze, then misalkinle. If the lender ate the amount of the loan, misalkinle, then the loan gets canceled. Achal tvei, but if the lender ate more than the amount of the loan, mapkina b'nei, the lender has to pay back the borrower. The borrower is dead, so you pay back his kids. And if the borrower owed money from another outstanding loan, then we'll use that to deduct the amount that is owed from the second loan. And the reason is because Bezdin is the father of the Yisayim, and the lender had no right to overeat on the land that was just given to him as a collateral. And therefore, if he did, it's considered gezela, and he has to return it. Now, that is the other opinion. That is the opinion of Mar Bered Rav Yosef. Rav Ashi argues. Amar Rav Ashi says, I disagree. Now that you say that if he ate overage, he doesn't have to pay it back, Rav Ashi is very strict. If he ate the amount of the loan, there was no deduction. We don't remove him off the land. As long as the borrower did not pay back the loan, the lender could continue to eat. My timer, because it's all arak ribris. My timer, saluki beloy apukimenehu avak ribis. Avak ribis any b'dayonim. To remove somebody off a property, off a collateral property, without returning the loan, it's only because the guy ate avak ribis, because the lender had a ribis drabanan by using the fruits of the field. That still will not cancel the loan. The loan still has to be paid back, and you'll never get Bezdin cannot force the lender to pay back what he ate during the time that the loan was outstanding and the field was in his possession. Ovid Rav Ashi, and the Gemara says that Rav Ashi followed through on his very strict opinion. We go to Kigedolim, but that he made Yisayim Kitanim like Gedolim. That means that even though the lender ate the entire amount of the loan, still he forced the Yisayim Kitanim to pay back the loan before they get the field back. It's not it's avak ribis. I guess the lender is doing something wrong from overeating on that property, but still you can't force the lender to give it back. And therefore, until the loan is paid, the lender still owns that field. Now, in the Gemara, Amar Rava, Rava said, Bered Rav Yosef Shrei de Rava, Hai Mashkanta be'askra de Masalki, loy nechel ela b'nechyaisa. In a mashkin, in a city that you could prepay and remove the guy off the field, loy nechel ela b'nechyaisa. He says that he should not, the lender, what's he supposed to do with the field? If you give him a field as collateral and he can't use it, so what kind of collateral is that? So that means he could eat from that field, but whatever he eats, he has to arrange that he's deducting off the outstanding loan. So therefore, that wouldn't be ribis. And that's not really ribis if he says, look, we'll see what that means. We'll see, you deduct something off the loan. Whatever you eat, you deduct. So that looks like he's actually selling the field to the lender, and therefore it's not considered advrak ribis. V'tzuva Rambanan, and a rabbi, even be deducting from the loan, he should not eat from a collateral of land that was given to him. As long as he's holding on to the property, so he shouldn't touch that land. So then Gemara asks, then what should he do with the land? What kind of collateral is if you're a rabbi and you lend somebody money, the guy give you karka as collateral and you can't use it, so then what's the point? And says the Gemara b'kitzutza, you could arrange a kitzutza type of transaction, and even if you're a rabbi, that will be okay. So the Gemara didn't explain what kitzutza is, but we'll explain it in a moment. If you hold kitzutza is permitted, that's then fine. Then it works. That arrangement is also asar. What can a rabbi do? If you're going to hold the word kitzutza is asar, then that's also a problem. The Itma we learned, kitzutza pligibar Rav Achav Ravina. Kitzutza, we have a machlekes Rav Achav Ravina. Chad ame kitzutza sharia. Chad ame kitzutza yisura. So they had an argument if it's kitzutza mutter or kitzutza asar. Now the Gemara explains. Hey chidame kitzutza. What is an arrangement? A kitzutza arrangement. The amalei, you could the lender says to the borrower, you gave me your land as collateral until 5 years. I'll eat the fruits without deducting. From 5 years and on, then I'll give you deduct exactly the amount that I eat. So the first 5 years he's eating for free. So that looks like not an arrangement of a loan, or that looks more like a sharecropper arrangement, that the first 5 years he can benefit from the fruits, and then the next 5 years, because he's working the field, he has to split the profits with the owner of the field. So that doesn't look like ribis ketzutza, the ribis, and therefore a rabbi who gets that could make that such an arrangement. But others say, if you can't have a collateral and you're not deducting from a loan, if you're not going to deduct from the loan, it'll always remain asar. So the Gemara says, so what would be ketsusa according to the second version? You say like this, till the first 5 years, we're going to make a set amount that they're going to deduct, whatever it is. It could be like you're deducting from a $100,000 loan. Each year you're going to deduct 10,000. Could be the field is not going to yield 10,000. Could be the field will yield less or more. But still, that doesn't look like a ribis arrangement. So you then, from here and on, from that point and on, then you estimate the exact amount of what the fruits is worth, and that's the amount that's deducted off the field. Whatever you ate gets deducted off the loan. We'll stop in a half a minute. Man the asar bekamaisa, the one that said that's the first one is asar. That means the first one. So kitzutza would be he'll use the second version. Uman shari bebasraisa, man the asar bebasraisa, but the one that held that even the second version is not good, right? Is kitzutza according to him would be the second version, and even that second version is no good. Then how would a server rabbanon ever take a collateral as a field? If everything you're going to say, every arrangement is asar, then what's the point of taking the collateral of the field? Answers the Gemara, there is one way. The way to take a field is like this. A rabbi lends somebody money. The guy puts up his land as collateral and tells the rabbi, listen, you can use the field, but at the end of a certain amount of years, I get the land back without paying you back the loan. And that's the only way that's going to work. And it wouldn't be, of course, ribis, but that's the best way. So one more piece, and then we'll stop. Basically, if you own a collateral piece of land, and the borrower could just walk in and give you the money back and claim his land back, so that's not really your land. So therefore, if you have a bachor, he wouldn't take pishnayim on that, and a bachoiv, that's not considered your land where somebody could foreclose on it, because it's not really your land. It still belongs to the borrower. But if you're in a city that the borrower has no right to push you off the land, you have that land that he put up as collateral for like a 10-year term, right? So then, Bal Choiv, if you have that creditor, Goivameni, he could foreclose on that property because it's really your property. Only after 10 years it returns back to the borrower. But up until then, it's completely yours. Shvius would not cancel the loan on that. One more piece. That means a mashkin, that a collateral, that the city, that in a city that the borrower could come back and say, get off my field, then the lender has to get off the field, even if he started picking dates and the dates are on the floor of the field. He has to take the money back, and the borrower just walks and takes back his field. The agbina b'susei, but if he already collected the dates and put it into a basket, then it's still those dates belong to the lender because he already established that it's his. According to the opinion that it says that the vessels of a purchaser in the field of the seller, the purchaser bought it. So even if he didn't put it into baskets, it's on a towel, and they caught a bunch of dates. It will still belong to the lender, and we won't let the borrower get it back when he returns to pay back for that loan. Okay, we will stop right over here.
Sure, thank you.